Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are back today with another book review. I finished Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation 2 nights ago, and I wanted to get this video out to you guys while it was still fresh in my mind. Guys, I loved this book. First, before we get started, I wanted to tell you guys, I'm sorry that the lighting is bad. It is a dark, rainy night, and I have my ring light here beside me, but the lighting is just not good, and my overhead lighting is not good. But I really wanted to jump in and make this video for you guys while it was still fresh in my head, even though I will never forget this book. So guys, this was my second Emily Henry book. I have also read her book, Happy Place. And after I read Happy Place, I was thinking it was like top notch, like one of my favorite books I've ever read. It still is. But guys, I have to say that I think I put People We Meet on Vacation above Happy Place. So if you guys have not read this book, please click out of this because we are going to talk about it. We're also going to do some of the discussion questions that Emily Henry put in the back of the book for us. Also, I wanted to read you guys two of my favorite quotes from this book and just really dive in. So let's get started. So I did not realize this before I got this book. I actually found this at a local thrift store and I'm pretty sure it was brand new. I did not realize until I started to look into this book for just some people's opinions on it, which I saw very mixed opinions, let me say. I saw a lot of people that said that this was their favorite book of hers. And then I saw the polar opposite, that it was a lot of people's least favorite book of hers. I have to say, from reading Happy Place in this book, I think I would put this one a little above Happy Place because of the banter. So something I love about Emily Henry's writing, it almost gives me sort of like a Gilmore Girls vibe, especially in Happy Place, where it's just this really fast banter. It's very witty. There's all these inside jokes. This book, Poppy and Alex, the characters are so dry and hilarious. And I found myself all through this book literally laughing out loud at their jokes back and forth, their banter. It was amazing. So I kind of didn't know what I was getting into when I got this book. I didn't know what to expect. So when I was doing research on the book, I found out that all of Emily Henry, which I think it's like 5 or 6 books now at this point, that all of her books are being made into like series or movies. And I'm pretty sure this is the first one. They already have casted this movie. I think it's supposed to be like a Netflix movie from what I took from it. And I am so excited now and so happy that I read this in, kind of a time frame that it will be hopefully coming out maybe next year. So I'm very excited about that. So first thing I want to say, remember to click away if you have not read this book because we are going to talk about it. I loved Poppy and Alex. I have to say that they were some of the best characters of any book I've ever read. This is honestly one of the best books I've ever read in my life, like top 5. I loved this. Now, if you're somebody that maybe doesn't like dry humor as much or a storyline that flips around, it might not have been your favorite, but this starts. It technically starts 5 summers in the very first chapter, and then it jumps to 12 years back, 12 years in the past when Poppy and Alex are meeting at college. So it constantly goes back and forth from present time, and something's happened in their friendship 2 years ago on a vacation that they haven't been on a vacation together in 2 years. So it's jumping back from present time. Sorry, guys, I'm sitting up against my window and my legs start to fall asleep. But it starts to jump from present time, the trip they're on, to 12 summers ago when they meet and all of their trips that they do every summer. Okay, guys, I think I got you here good. I had to plug up my tablet because it started to die. But some books, Emily Henry did such a great job from jumping from present time to past time and how many years we jumped. Like it started counting down the summers from 12 summers ago, 11 summers ago, and so on. Some books, when they do it that way, I think it can get kind of confusing or hard to follow, or you can lose interest. I wanted to know about every summer trip they went on. It felt like you were following Poppy and Alex like around the world, and it was so fun. I loved that aspect, and she did such a good job of building the characters throughout all of those that you felt like you just knew them so well. The thing that I loved about this book was how quirky the characters were. Poppy and Alex were like some of my favorite book characters ever. The little things, like these little jokes and whoop, guys, I don't want you to fall. These little inside jokes. Okay, I think I have you guys good again. These little inside jokes that Poppy and Alex would have together, they were just, okay, I've got you guys balanced on my windowsill and it's plugged up and it's like moving it. But anyways, guys, the like just their inside jokes, they would like 12 summers ago, 11 summers ago, 10 summers ago, like whatever they were getting into, they would meet these other quirky characters along the way, and these little inside jokes from their trips or things they experienced, they would talk about it later in the book in other trips or in present time, and it just felt like you were inside all of their like inside jokes together. So it was so nice, like when they start the present time and Poppy is just feeling really lost in her job and she misses Alex, and it keeps talking about like something happened 2 years ago in Croatia and you're not sure, you know, what that was, but you're seeing as the book builds that the two of them, at least from Poppy's side, like Poppy is really falling in love with Alex, and you're wanting it so much because they just have this super neat dynamic and friendship. I do kind of wish this book would have been told more from like a dual point of vision, because I would have loved to have seen Alex's point of vision a lot, but she did such a good job writing this that you didn't even need to. This was just the cutest book. So, you know, their vacation that they end up going on to Alex's brother's wedding in the present time is just disastrous when it gets started. Alex pulls his back. The place is super hot. They get a flat tire. Like everywhere she's trying to take him to make the trip really fun is closed or super hot, or he's getting overheated. And you're just like, you're hoping that they work it out, and you're hoping their friendship comes back together. I was so excited to see the characters get together and be together because they were just so quirky. Like Poppy was just so funny. And even though she had been bullied growing up and had trauma from that, she just didn't care what anybody thought about her and wore these vibrant clothes. And she was just so sarcastic and dry. And Alex in his own way was quirky. Like he was so particular and a neat freak and like all these things that kind of made him quirky in his own way. So they were so different and like opposites, but yet had a lot in common with their humor and just their differentness. I don't know, just being their own person. So I loved this book, guys. Giving it a rating. Normally people on Book Talk do like 1 to 5 stars. 5 stars for sure. I would give it like 10 stars. I so recommend this book. I would say too, it's a good book to transition from summer to fall, because you kind of feel like they're going on this summer trip, but yet they're getting back to normal life. So it kind of feels like summer could be ending, you know, and working into fall. So I feel like this was a good like end of summer read, but I highly recommend this. Now I am going to read all of Emily Henry's books. I know that now, since fall's kind of getting here, I was thinking about, I don't know, her Book Lovers, and what's the other one? Funny You Should Ask, I think is her newest one. Is that what it's called? No, not Funny You Should Ask. That's another book that I read that I'm going to share in another video. Funny Story, maybe? It's something like that. I want to see if those more maybe would take place not in the summer to be good like fall winter books. So I'm going to look into those. But absolutely love Emily Henry. I can't wait to watch. I will, whenever this movie comes out, I will be sitting there the day it comes out to watch it. So absolutely love this book. I love that they ended up together because of course we wanted them to. They were so perfect for each other. So guys, before we jump into the book club questions, I wanted to go over some of my favorite quotes from the book, just 2. So I loved this one. I don't highlight things in my books, but this was just a quote that really stuck out to me. And I knew if I didn't take a picture of it with my phone, I would forget it. So I wanted to read this to you guys because I loved this one. Okay, I loved this quote. It says, "He nods. I know you asked me who I was, and it was like the answer came out of nowhere. Sometimes it feels like I didn't even exist before then, like you invented me." I loved that quote because I feel like, in a way, Poppy was trying to grow into herself and her confidence, figure out who she was because she was wanting to leave her small town where she was bullied. And Alex had taken care of his brothers and lost his mom young. And I feel like both of them just didn't really know who they were yet without the influence of everybody else. And just him saying that, like on their ride home from college, the first time they ride home together, it's like he's saying, like, he didn't know who he was. Like, Poppy invented him. Like, she brought out this side of him that he never showed anybody else. And he was able to like grow into who he was supposed to be because of Poppy. And I feel like Poppy did the same because of Alex. I just loved that quote because I so know what that's like in life. Like when I met my husband, I feel like I fully found and developed and blossomed into who I was because I felt safe to do it. And so I think both of them feel like each other was such a safe place. And I just loved that quote. Let me find the next quote because I think it might even be on the last page. So let me find it and I'll read that one. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the one I wanted to read, you guys. It is actually the last paragraph of the book, and I just thought this sums it up beautifully. And even on those days when one or both of us is having a hard time, we'll be here, where we are completely known, completely accepted by the person whose every side we love wholeheartedly. I'm here with all of the versions of him I've met over 12 years of vacations. And even if the point of life isn't just being happy right now, I am down to the bones. I loved that. Oh my gosh, I love that quote. Okay, guys. So sorry, my tablet keeps falling, so I had to shift it a little more. But I love that quote so much because I feel like it goes back to what I was kind of saying with the other quote when she says she's completely known, completely accepted by the person whose every side you love wholeheartedly. And when she says, like, I'm here with all of the versions of him I've met over the 12 years of vacation, I just loved that. I feel like every time they went on vacation, every time they spent together, they got to open this part of each other's hearts and minds that were closed off to anybody from just trauma in life. And I love that she says that because when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's not that every day, when you first are with somebody or you're dating and you're in that like new stage and everything's exciting, it really gets when you're with somebody for years and you really know that person, that's where the love is really special. Because some of those things where it's not your first date or your first time going bowling or things like that, but you're so in love with every version of that person. And that's when the really true love comes out because you love them in the good times, the bad times, you see them at the worst times. And you still make fun times and you still have laughs and you actually more love that person for who they are than just when you meet them and you're in the honeymoon stage. So I feel like their relationship was so strong and will be so strong because they got to build those bonds for 12 years. And like she said, they were so worried. Like Alex was so worried of becoming boring to Poppy when Poppy really needed like a stable, like consistency in her life because she was so free-spirited, where Alex, he was so structured, needed Poppy in ways too. And like just that reassurance that even when there's days where you're both working, maybe you've had a tough day, maybe you're parents and you have a day where it was a tough day, you're still so bonded at the end of the day. And even if it's a tough day, it's not a bad day because you love each other at every version of life, like every day with everything that comes with it. And I think that's so beautiful to watch love transition into that when you can be having tough days, boring days, and you're still so in love with that person and they never become boring to you because you love them at every aspect through all the journey of life. So I love that it ended there and just I feel like they both were getting their happiness and were both afraid to settle down, and they were both accepting and letting themselves be happy and have what they want. So I just really loved that quote in the book. Okay, so we are going to skip to the discussion questions. I don't know if I'll do them all. I may. I don't want to make this video too long. Sometimes I make them very long, which I don't mind it. Let me know if, excuse me guys, excuse me. Let me know if they're ever like too long for you guys, because I love just to chat about these. And if you've read this book, I'm sure you love chatting about it too. So the very first discussion question is, when they first met, Alex and Poppy are immediately put off by each other. Have you ever made a friend after a bad first impression? So I would probably say for me, that would be more of like work friends. Like maybe you met somebody at work and you didn't really like them right at first, and then you got to really chat with them and laugh with them when you can kind of like put your guard down and get to know somebody. I would definitely say when I was working before I became a stay-at-home mom, that I definitely had things like that where maybe somebody at first I was like, oh, they don't seem too friendly, or, oh, me and them might not have a lot in common. I love to make friends with people though that I don't have a ton in common with. I like to have friends that bring different things to me and different aspects to my life like I could do for them. So yeah, I've definitely had friends that I maybe at first didn't so hit it off with or think we were going to be that close, and then we got closer. The next question, what's something you do on vacation that you're unlikely to do in your daily life? Is there a certain comfort in anonymity? Okay, I know I didn't say that last word right because I cannot say it. Anonymity. I cannot say that word right. I'm sorry, guys. I can't pronounce it right for some reason. But, okay, let me think about that question. I would say something that I do probably different on vacation than I do in real life is I am so bad for always feeling like I have this internal clock constantly going in my everyday life. Like I always feel like I'm going to be late to something or I'm behind on something. Even being a stay-at-home mom, I'll look at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. And I'm like, why? Like, who am I answering to? I feel like I'm like that when I'm at home. I feel like when I'm on vacation, I really let myself just be and turn that off. And like our last vacation when we went to the beach, I was just like sitting on the porch reading for hours, like just doing things, coming and going. I wasn't so worried about this internal clock of like, oh, I'm going to be late to do this. I was able to kind of switch that off in my mind. And I think I do that a lot on vacation, and I love that. I wish I was able to do it more in my everyday life, and I need to work on that because we don't have to be so strict or get things done by this exact time we think of. So I would say that's something for me, like being able to like switch my mind off more and not feel such like this, your internal clock just constantly going. Okay, next question. What is your worst vacation memory and your best? So I'm trying to think of one of my worst vacation memories. I would probably say one that sticks out to me. I remember when I was a kid, because we've always went to Myrtle Beach. It's going to be one of my worst and one of my best. I remember when I was a kid going to Myrtle Beach with one of my friends and my mom and dad. And for some reason, when I was a kid, I would get really anxious before we would go away. I suffer from anxiety. I always have. And I would get sick sometimes before trips. So I remember this one trip to Myrtle Beach. I was so sick before we went to the beach. It was just like nerves. Like I had gotten sick before we left. I just felt like crap and I like slept the whole time. I remember that just kind of sucking because I just felt not excited for the vacation. I'm trying to think if there was like anything else that I can think of. That's just the one that's really popping into my mind. And then the other part was saying like, what's your best memory from vacation? I'm going to just go off my vacation this past year when we went back to Myrtle Beach. It was my first year taking both of my sons. The last time I had went, I was pregnant with my second son, Jordan. So it was just really special being at the beach as our dynamic being four of us. Also, my older son was older and my younger son is 2. So he's older than I feel like Hayden was the first time we took him. So I just feel like I just feel like they enjoyed themselves a lot. I know my older son Hayden did. We went with my mom and my stepdad and my grandma. And I thought it was so nice to have the dynamic of my two sons having their great grandma and one of their grandmas on the same trip, that how much of a blessing it is that my sons get to be with two of their great grandmas and go on a trip with one of them. So I think like I just had such a good time as a family. It was also when I really kicked off my reading. I was reading so much at the beach, and that was like kicking off my love for reading. So that was a really special time for me because it has not slowed down since then. So I just have this really warm, pleasant feeling about this last time we went to the beach. So that is just fresh in my mind and my best memory so far. So this next question, Poppy is going through professional burnout. That's one of the reasons she's really wanting to go on this vacation with Alex in the present time. Have you ever experienced that kind of fatigue, and how did you get through it? So I would say probably for me, sometimes like mom burnout. I am a stay-at-home mom to both my sons, and it is such a blessing. I love it deeply. It is the biggest blessing in my life. But I will say that you can easily kind of get burnt out because your days are so revolved around your kids, which is how it should be. But sometimes if you're not prioritizing yourself sometimes in the evenings, or kind of going out, maybe going out to dinner with a friend or going to the store by yourself, it is very easy to kind of forget who you are along the way. Hold on, guys. I was losing my tablet again. It keeps slip sliding. So I would say that that's probably the thing that I could connect with the most. Now, I'm not burnt out to the extent that Poppy was, where I'm not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom anymore because I love it. It is the biggest blessing. But I will say that there's some days where I've noticed that it's been like a month and I've not really taken time for myself because life just gets busy. So I would say that I definitely resonate with her with it's something you love so much, but yet like you're kind of losing yourself in it, because I know I've had to start doing more things by myself to kind of combat my social anxiety that I get being home all the time, and just I don't see friends a lot. So definitely I kind of understand where Poppy was with like it's like I need to do something for myself. Okay, the next question was which vacation of Alex and Poppy's would you want to take, and which would you least want to take? So I loved when they went to Colorado together, and that's was it Colorado? Wait, now I'm getting it mixed up. Wherever they were and they met, it couldn't have been Colorado. It was in the Northeast somewhere. Where was it? Was it Connecticut? Let me see, guys. Hold on. Okay, this was my favorite trip of theirs. I found it. It was at their 10 summers ago. They were in Canada, and there was a lady that was they ended up staying at like a retirement, like condo area, and they didn't realize it. And, there was a lady that was trying to sell them a $21,000 bear sculpture. And she kept saying that like, if a piece of art spoke to you, you would find the money to make it happen, to buy it, because they both didn't have a lot of money and would like scrounge together money to go on these trips. And I thought that was hilarious. And then they went through the city, like at the bookstores and stuff, and they kept saying like, does this speak to you? It was just so funny. I love that trip. That's where they met Buck, the guy that, did the water taxi tour. And it was just, I don't know, they had so many inside jokes from that trip. And then summers later, she reaches back out to Buck for this one girl's number that they end up meeting up with when they go to Colorado. That's why I got those two mixed up. But I loved that trip. I thought that was such a fun trip and was just hilarious. And when they were staying at the one part where they were in like the old, like the condos for like the retirement age, it was really funny because they were saying there wasn't a lot to do, and they were like hiking these areas and spending time in the woods, which I thought were cool. And they were going in and out of bookstores, and it just sounded so cozy. So that was definitely my favorite trip that They talked about being on, I think, other than, of course, like, I love that the last trip they go on, they end up like, telling each other that they love each other. Like, of course, that one. But I thought the one when they were in Canada was just really special. And then, which is the one you would least want to take? It was probably, even though I want to go, wasn't it Italy they were in? I feel like it was Italy. Like, even though I so want to go there, they brought their significant others and it was just not the best time. So I would say if I was looking at the trips they went on, I wouldn't have wanted to be on that trip. Then the last trip when they were going to California to, I think, like, wasn't it Palm Springs or somewhere where it was really hot? I definitely wouldn't want to go somewhere where it was so like dead of summer, like desert hot. So that one also, but definitely the Italy trip was just not the best vibe. So I would say I wouldn't want to be on that trip. Okay, the next question, having grown up in a small town, Poppy struggles to break free of her reputation, or at least struggles to believe she can do so. When have you felt misunderstood and how did you get past it? So I think that is something very common. A lot of us feel that the person you were in high school or that you felt like you had to be or people made you be, that is hard to break out of. I feel like at first because you feel like you're in this town and everybody knows you as this way, and it's hard to kind of like develop and find who you are if you're feeling like you're different than that person. Where Alex, it seemed like he was just always him. Like, he wasn't bullied and stuff in high school, and he was just always like solid and just knew who he was. So I feel like he didn't want to leave the town as bad as Poppy did. So I feel like with Poppy, just everybody around her misunderstood her, and it was hard to change how, like, she felt like people would always see her as the same Poppy that they saw in high school. So it was really cool when she lived in New York and she ran into like the guy she had first kissed that ended up being her bully, and he was apologizing to her and was like interested in meeting up with her and like having coffee. I think that really spoke volumes of like where you're at in high school or college. Like, that doesn't define your life. That doesn't define the person you are. You can, whatever people made you be or you felt like you were, you can blossom and change and be the person that you really are and not be held down to those chains of like high school. So, yeah, I think Poppy was really working past that, even though that was a struggle for her. Okay, this is a good question. Why do you think it takes Poppy and Alex so long to admit their feelings to each other? Okay, of course, reading the book, I want them to admit their feelings to each other because they are so good together. They are like made for each other, even though they're as different as night and day. But I think it takes so long because I think Alex was really reserved with his feelings. So Poppy, I don't think knew 100% where she stood with Alex. And like, Poppy just felt like Alex was this one person in her life that she didn't have to share. Like, it was this one, like, she makes this point in the book to say, like, it was always her mom and dad had each other, her brothers had each other. She said, even my pets had each other. And she always felt like she was kind of on the outside and she didn't have her person. So I think she was so scared that if her and Alex dated and things didn't work out, she was going to lose Alex as her person and her friend. And he meant more to be in her life, even if it had to just be a friend, even though she realized that she loved Alex earlier on, or at least had feelings for him. So I think that's why it took so long, because she was just terrified to lose her person. Okay, the last question I'm going to read is, do you think Poppy and Alex are going to make it? Absolutely. I think that when you go into a relationship and you have a solid friendship, I think those are unbreakable. The banter, the humor, the just love that they had for each other. Like, Poppy was always like riding so hard for Alex, and Alex was too, even when they were just friends. Absolutely. I think that they are going to do whatever it takes to finally be together. And I think Poppy was realizing what she always saw kind of as her goals, that she wanted more than that. Like she needed somebody, she needed consistency. And I think Alex knew, even though he wanted to settle down and wanted a lot of stability, that he still like yearned for Poppy and how free spirited she was and adventurous. So I 1,000% think that they will make it and stay together and maybe even have kids one day. I know Poppy, I think, was not sure if that was something she wanted to do. So I think they will definitely make it. So guys, this video got long anyways, even though I said I wasn't going to make it as long. Please read this book if you haven't. I probably just spoiled it though if you're still here and you haven't. But please let me know in the comments what you think of this. Also, if you've read her book, Happy Place, what you thought of that. And if you've read other books of hers, please let me know which other one I should start with next. And especially if you have one that has more of maybe not so much a summer vibe. I probably will read summer books all year, but I do think it's kind of fun to like read the books with the seasons that are coming, so then when summer comes back around, I can be so excited to jump back into summer books again. So please let me know if there's one that would be more of a fall winter read. So thank you guys so much for watching.